So hey you guys, welcome to my channel. I've been wanting to do this for a long time and I couldn't decide when or what to do or what to say. But I wanted to first off by starting to tell you guys that this channel is about my personal journey. And some things might get emotional, but I think that, knowledge is power, and YouTube is such a broad platform that we can use to help each other out. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about my lupus diagnosis. It's been something I've been wanting to use YouTube as a platform to do for a while, and the fact that I've been watching other YouTubers that talk about it, it gave me a little bit more courage to do it. I'm a little bit camera shy, but I've been wanting to use my diagnosis as a platform to help other people. But also the fact that I work full time and still have a chronic diagnosis, I wanted to talk about as well. So this video is going to be kind of filmed in chunks when I have the time to do it. I actually have been off for 2 days because, as you can tell, I sound a little rough because I've been battling like allergy and asthma symptoms, which are mild compared to other symptoms I've had in the past. But as a result, my job told me to take a couple of days off, which is fine with me. I have a very demanding job, but I'll get to that. For now, I want to introduce myself to the YouTube community, and please like and subscribe if you want to hear more, and leave comments if you want to talk about your journeys with any medical condition or anything you would like to share with me as a creator. But I'll start from the beginning. So I was in college for 4 years from 2008 to 2012. I would say around 2011, I started just not feeling well, not having the energy that I used to have. And I wound up, I'm not sure exactly what happened because that was the start of my diagnosis and I was in a major flare around that time. But I wound up going to the hospital near my college, and they was like, oh, your gallbladder is inflamed, we gotta take it out. So my junior year I had gallbladder surgery, and I wound up having to stay home for probably like a week or so, but went back to campus, went back to class, got through my junior year. Senior year was kind of a blur for me because that's when everything started to happen with my body. I started really having no energy, not being able to walk from one side of the campus to the other, forgetting a lot. Luckily, I had friends to help me, but I just started losing my memory about everything. Shortness of breath, going from one side of campus to the other, and I couldn't remember anything, and I thought that was weird. Mind you, I'm around, I think, 23 years old at this time, so I'm like, I'm pretty young. Trying to figure out why I'm having all these issues. So, fast forward to probably like a couple weeks before I was set to graduate. It got to a point where I couldn't keep no food down. Everything I tried to eat, I threw it up. So as a result, I lost about 100 pounds, maybe a little bit more. I remember a lot from my junior year, but I remember trying to walk across stage, and I couldn't wear heels because I was so off balance that I couldn't even walk in a straight line or walk without tripping over something or falling. Like I said, I don't remember a lot during that time because one of my lupus symptoms was brain inflammation. So I just so happened to get through graduation with my friend's help and my mom's help. But it wasn't over because the summer I was supposed to do an internship. There's no way I was in any shape to do an internship. When I got home, like probably not even a week or so into being home, my mom was just like, something is wrong. Like you're not doing your ADLs. You're not doing anything. So she thought I was depressed from graduating college and not knowing my next step. I didn't know what was going on. I was afraid, wasn't talking to nobody because I didn't know what was going on inside of my body. So my mom thought it was mental. So she decided to take me to a mental hospital. It wound up not being mental. It wound up being very much so medical. So from the mental hospital, they transferred me to the medical hospital. And that's when they ran a whole bunch of tests. And they realized, one, that I had the brain inflammation. But also I had blood clots. I just had a lot of things going on. And that was the start of my first major flare. And that's where I got my first diagnosis from. I wound up having to stay in the hospital for a month between being in the medical part for about 2.5 weeks, physical therapy part for about 2.5 weeks, maybe. It might have been more, give or take a couple days in each portion. I wound up slowly but surely starting to gain my memory back, but there are still some chunks of time around that time that I don't remember. And it was just hard for me because I had to learn how to go back to being an adult, being back into it. And it was not easy. So I wound up starting to volunteer at, a school where my nieces and nephews and my little sisters went. And it helped me go back to the social aspect of my life. It was a tough time. I was very isolated during that time. I just felt like nobody knew what I was going through. I didn't know what I was going through. So, and then a lot of the aspects of, I went from taking like minimal to no medication to having to take about like 12 medications. That was a very hard thing for me. And that is something that to this day I still struggle with. I'm not saying that I know that medication is needed to maintain my condition, but sometimes I feel like it's a pain, it's a burden. But I've learned that, taking medication is important. And in my older years, now being 31, about to be 32, I've noticed how important medication is and how if I don't take my medication, it will drastically change how I feel and change the state of my body and what's going on with my body. But, all of this happened between 2012, 2013, and that was the start of my life with lupus. I want to film this video in chunks because I don't want it to be too long, but I want to cover the bases, and that's the bases. I still had a lot of issues with, mobility, memory, things of that nature. It took me about maybe 3 or 4 years before I could even start working in the field. I wound up actually basically having my degree in psychology, but I was missing one credit because I was scheduled to take a credit over the summer. Then I got sick. I'm actually still trying to get that one credit. But I do have enough credits to basically say that I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. And that has helped me get to the job that I'm at now, which I will talk about. Well, I have the time, I might as well talk about it. So after I started feeling better, started working, started doing therapeutic support. That's another thing. I'm very sick now. Still have a sore throat. Still have a bad cough. But I will be going to work tomorrow. And I was blessed today to get what they call canceled at my job because I called off yesterday because I didn't feel good. So I had an extra day of rest. So I'm happy for that. But anyway, once I felt like I was able to get back into the swing of things, I started doing what they would consider therapeutic support. Sorry. Working with kids with behavior problems. And like I loved it. Hold on. Ooh. Okay, so so I started working with kids with behavior problems. And I did that for I would say about 2 or 3 years before I started feeling some things mentally. I just wasn't feeling worthy of anything. I wasn't feeling I was worthy of life. I felt like regardless of what I did, that life just wasn't meant for me to be here. And I started having thoughts of suicide. Well, this was not the first time that I had thoughts of suicide because my family history is another topic that I'll probably cover in another video. But the gist of it is that both my parents passed away, and as a result, my godmom decided to raise me. But it was hard in the beginning, and even a couple years down the line, because I always felt like a stepchild. I always felt like I didn't belong there. And regardless of what happened, I just felt like I tried to work so hard to feel like I belong, and I still didn't feel like I did. But those were some issues I had to work out. But because I had thoughts of suicide, I had a suicide attempt. And I think I took a bunch of like Tylenol, Motrin. So they had to pump my stomach, and I was hospitalized. But with the hospitalization, I started to realize that, there was a lot of things from the past that I buried and I didn't address because burying was one of my coping skills. That's how I got through things. I just buried it and didn't tell anybody how I felt. And to this day, I still have issues with talking about how I feel about things. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to ruin anybody's day with my feelings. So I keep them to myself. I've gotten better with sharing them, but it's still a hard thing for me to do. But and at this time I was living by myself or with like siblings or whatever. But it was just hard. I never truly felt comfortable with living by myself with having this condition. So I started things started to manifest themselves physically with what I was going through mentally. So I started like having low blood sugar, having fainting spells, having dizzy spells. And I was hospitalized again for medical reasons. Then hospitalized again for psychiatric reasons. So for the next couple of years, I was just in and out of the hospital, both mental hospitals and medical hospitals, trying to figure out what is going on with me physically and mentally. The last time I was like, this is the last straw. I'm going to get myself mentally more stronger, tell myself more positive things than what I was telling myself in the past. And that's been about 5 years, and I haven't been in a mental facility since. Can't say I haven't been in medical, but I haven't been in mental. But fast forward to the job I have now. I actually work at a psych hospital now. And I know that sounds crazy because I talk about my spells of being in and out of psych facilities, but I really feel like, so I am a psych tech, and I really feel like the best psych techs know what it's like to be on the other side. And because I know what it's like to be on the other side, I have more sympathy for my patients. Now, some of my patients be like, oh, well, you don't know, because I work with dual diagnosis. And they say, you don't know what it's like to, be on drugs. And they're totally correct. I don't. But what I know what it's like to be inpatient in a psych facility. And that's where we can relate. I know what it's like to not being able to do things when you want to do it. I know what it's like to be on somebody else's schedule and not your own. I know what it's like to have to follow rules that you didn't make. It is kind of like being in jail, glorified jail, but jail, because you can't do things on your own free will. But you're there for a reason, and once you accomplish your reason, then you can keep going with your life. That's the thing about psych facilities; they're not meant to be long term. So with that being said, man, it is hard having lupus and being a psych tech. Don't get me wrong, I love my job, but some days it's so hard. But I wouldn't give it up for the world. I used to think that I would never be a full-time working adult. Like, after I got my diagnosis, I just cried and cried and cried because I didn't think I would ever be working in the field that I went to school in. And I'm so happy every day that I'm able to work. And I'm able to, show people in my position that, yes, it's not easy and it's not going to be easy. But if you have a desire, you can do it. No matter what stage of lupus or autoimmune disease you have, you're able to do it. And if you can't do it right now, if you have to take some time off, if you have to take a rest, do it. Because I've learned that if you don't rest, if you don't take the time that you need, it's worse off on your body. And I feel like in the beginning, that's what I was doing. I was just running, trying to get myself back in there, because I had, in my mind, I had guidelines. I had timelines that I had for myself. And this thing had put major roadblocks up for my timelines I had for myself. And there's still a lot of ways that I am behind. I'm still living at home, but that is a secure thing for me right now, because I'm still very, very much afraid to be on my own, and I have a medical emergency. But I'm working on, slowly but surely being okay with the fact that it's okay to have a medical emergency and be on your own. Just know what to do. And it's okay to go to the hospital, even if it's just minor. If you'd rather it be minor and you went than it be major and you didn't go. Um, I want to talk about my psych check job, but it's going to be a long video. So um, I think for the next video, I'm going to talk about it. My challenges with having lupus and being a psych tech. So until then, guys, good luck and good health, and be safe, be active, and be happy, and don't think about what life has. Don't think about the troubles in life. Think about the accomplishments in life. Until then, peace.